Welcome back to Learning Partners. So today we are going to see how and what number of reusable components we can create using input and output in Angular. So just to start with, let's try to go to the Bootstrap and see what are the things which we can make reusable. So first we will start with the easy one. So let's say alerts. So you can see these are the alerts we have in Bootstrap. So alert is nothing but a simple div structure and with some message like it is a success or error and with some background color. Like, so let's try to make it reusable. Let's copy this. Let me create just a component. So always try to create one specific folder where you are going to create your all or you are going to keep all your reusable component. So just like I have created, let's say alert box. This is going to be my reusable component. Okay, so my alert box component is created. So now I have to just paste the content I have copied from the Bootstrap. So now if you see reusable components are meant to what we can say the same HTML we can use in multiple pages, just data will be different and its behavior will be different. So we don't have to copy paste this thing. Let's say you have 5 pages and in all the 5 pages you have to show alert. So rather than copy pasting this in all the component, all you have to do is now you have to use the selector of this component and the same structure you can get, right? So what like we have created this reusable component now by using its selector. So that is app alert box. Let's try to use it in first inline component, right? So after this, like this as an HTML tag, then in CRUD sample also let's try it. Reactive form CRUD above all. Let's try to save and check. So if you can see in the reusable, this particular route also you can see the alert. Then in reactive mode also you can see the alert. Now same code we have put in a particular HTML that is in a component and we are using that component wherever we need to show the alert. Now if you see here also we get the same message and same text. Here also we get the same thing. But in every page we need to show some different text, right? If it is a success it should have a green color and if it is a danger it should have a red color. So for that this is a child component. Let me inspect it. So you can see this is a child component. It is loaded into the parent component that is app reactive form. So we have to send some data from parent component to the child component. So for that, to achieve this, we have to use input. So we have to create input into the alert box. First thing is like in the import statement, we need to add input, right? Then we have to create the input. So input is nothing but just a normal variable. Let's say uh, title colon string is equal to, let's initialize it with empty. We now this is a simple variable. Now if I have to make this as an input, so what I have to do, I just have to add input in front of it. So this will become input now, right? Now this title variable I will use in here in the strong so that it will be dynamic. Now this is not static. Whatever the value I have in this title, that will be printed over there. So I have created first thing, I have added input and I have created the a variable which is input. Now wherever I am using this selector, I can pass data using this property. So let's go to reactive form. So that title property is nothing but a property of alert box component. So we can make use of the property binding. So that is title and we have to send the string information. So inside double quote, we have to use single quote and then let's say success. Okay. And now in second component, that is inline editing, we will send the value as error. right? So let's save and check now. So let it reload. So currently we are in the reactive form, right? So you can see success is there, spelling mistake is there, so you can identify. Now if we go to the inline editing, you can see error is there. Just pay attention carefully. Here it is success, and in second page it is error. Now same component we have used in different component, but the value is different because we have created input and by we have sent the value to that input, right? And this input we have used in the HTML using interpolation. Now second thing, this message should be dynamic. So let's create one more variable, that is at the rate input round bracket, then let's say text or content. Again, it will have the data type string. Let's initialize to empty. Now, wherever we are using this selector, we just need to pass the content also. So first will be here. This is first, then second, double quotes inside that single quote. Let's create a message like this is sample text. Okay. Currently, we are in the inline editing component. Now let's pass the same thing in the different component, that is reactive from. Now the text will be something different. Welcome to reactive form. So let's save and check. Now both the title and the message should be dynamic. Let it reload. It's not saved properly. Okay, because this is not we have changed. So now we have an input that we are going to send. So this we have to use over here. Now instead of this static message, we will be showing whatever the message we get from the parent component. Let's save. Now it should render correctly. So see, in the reusable inline editing component, you can see error is there and this is a sample text. Now let's get to the reactive form. So you can see success and welcome to the reactive form, right? So we have created two input and wherever we have used that component, we have sent that value to that variable using the property binding, right? Now next thing is, if you can see, since this is the success, so it has the green color, it is okay. But if we go to the uh, inline editing page, so this is an error, so it should have red color, right? So for that we can just write a simple ng class instead of this, or let's create one more variable, one more input. So that will be at the rate input round bracket alert type. It will be again string is equal to empty. Now in alert type, at least we can send the class itself or value, but just sending the class will be easy because here only we can, let's remove this and we just need to add a ng class over here. Whatever the value we get into this variable, that class will be getting added. Now wherever we are using this component, we just have to send the class also. Now it is error, so we have to send the class like to background. If we need a red background, so class will be alert danger hyphen danger. Now same thing we can pass in here also. It is success, so it will be alert success. Let's create one more time this bit more in below this. Now here it will be warning. Okay, it will be warning, and let's change the message, check inbox. Now in one component we have added alert component twice. You can see. So see, in the inline editing, success is there, so it has the green color, and this is the text. Now again we have added the second selector, but the title is warning and the alert type is alert warning and the content is check inbox. So you can see we have got the same thing. Now class is also dynamic. Even now if we go to the inline editing, you can see red background color is there. So this is what we have created, a reusable component, but making all the things dynamic. right? So let's see what next we can do. Yeah, so we can create a cards now. So cards are nothing but you can see this is the card. It has a header, it has a content, it has a footer. So let's create one more card component to show the list. Okay. So I have already one thing, but I will create one more one. Ng generate component, and let's say cards, or let's say list card, because we are going to show the array inside this card. Let it run. Okay. So now the list card component is created. Now what I have to do, I just have to copy this content, paste it over here inside my reusable component. Now the benefit of it, like, let's say we have list of employee or list of user and we want to display some information, just the static information like name will goes here, detail will goes here, and contact number will goes here, right? If same thing is going to be needed over multiple components, so rather than writing the creating the same card over multiple components, we can create a reusable component for that. So let's try to create an input over here at the rate input. Okay, so either you can add input here or directly click on here, it will update the input statement. Round bracket, let's say object colon any is equal to empty. Okay, so now we are not sending the string object, it is going to be the object. So object, instead of header, let's say object dot name. We are assuming like we are going to get an object which is having property name. So like that, here object dot detail, and in footer, let's say object dot contact number. So now what we have to do, wherever we are going to use this component, we have to create an array of this object or a simple object also, and then we have to send the input, right? So let's try to use this. Let me find where we have the data. Let me save it. So in employee, yeah, we don't have here data. Yeah, so here you can see already card is there. So let's try to replace this with our card. This is in server side filtering component. So server side filtering is here. So here you can see the static part was there. Let me comment out this. Let's put our selector. Now for this component, that is list card, we just have a one input, that is object. So wherever we are using this component, we have to send the data. So object is equal to, we have to send the object, that is the item. So we are calling a card component inside a for loop, right? So let's try if it prints, but we have some other than, let's see the API response, what kind of object we are getting. We will replace that in the reusable component. We reload. So here we have name is there. Let's see name is there or not. Yeah, name is there. Then let's see contact number is also there. Yeah, just detail is not there. So instead of detail, we can print email. Let's try, click on save, and let's check it now. So see, we have got the card. In the header, we have got the name. In the body, we have got printed the email, and in the footer, we have printed the email, right? So this reusable list card component we have used inside the for loop, right? So let's say if I just need to print one particular candidate record. So now what I have to do, Let's display it at the top. And instead of object, I can create an object one it's here itself. Name colon ABC column contact number colon then value what it can be and then email. Okay, either you can create object here itself or create a variable and then pass that variable. Anything can work. Let's save and check. So about the candidate list, we should see one card with the information we have sent. See, ABC is printed over here, email and the mobile number. So it's not that you can use the selector with anywhere like this. You can use the selector in the for loop also. So you can see it's just the data what we are sending to the object. We have sent the item because candidate was an array of object. An item is a single object, so that we have sent. So this is also kind of reusable component which you can create. Another example we can take like Jumbotron. So you can see Jumbotron is nothing but a simple structure of div, right? So what things are going to be changed? This text and this text, right? So let's copy this. Let's create a reusable component. Let's name it Jumbotron only. ng generate component. Why Jumbotron? Let's say this kind of structure you are going to show in multiple pages, just kind of a heading to the page or anything, right? What informing that what the page is about. So you can use this rather than copy pasting whole thing into different component. You can create a reusable component and pass the this value and this value. That's it. So let's create. Yeah, it is created. Now let's copy the content. This is our HTML part. Now the things we can make it dynamic like the H1 part and the paragraph. So let's create two inputs at the rate input round bracket. Okay, let's make it as a title. Data type will be string. Let's initialize to empty. At the rate input, second property that will be description. Again, it is of type string only is equal to empty. Now we just have to use this variable wherever we need to show. So instead of h1, it will be title, and here instead of this paragraph, it will be our description. So this will go over here. Now we have a component where there are two inputs, that is title and the description. So wherever we want to show the Jumbotron, we just have to make use of the this component. You can see in every component I should have created. So let me remove this selector. This, let's say this page was about server side filtering. So in square bracket title single quote. Now it is not mandatory that you should provide the value over here. Either you can create a variable and then pass the value. So let's create that page title colon string. Let's provide the value server side filter. So this is my title, simple variable where I have some text. Now this I can pass over here. Now I don't need the double single quote again, right? Then second is description. Let's add it here only. Video server side filtering. Now same I will copy paste and put it in a reactive form. So let me remove this. Let's put it page title instead of variable. I can pass it here. Reactive form and a description also. detail example on reactive form. Let's save on and check. Okay, so if we go to the server side filtering, so you can see we have got the text and the some small content description also. If we go to the reactive form, you can see the text is something else and the description is also something else, right? So this is the way how we use the input in React reusable component. There are many scenarios. It's again based on the project requirement, like what kind of your project is, and if your project is having that kind of same things which are going to be visible in all the pages. So rather than creating or writing the or designing the same form in all the pages, you can create a reusable component and use that reusable component wherever it is needed. Okay. Now coming back to output. So what till now what we have done in parent component, we have used a child component that is reusable, and we have sent the data from parent to the child. But what if I need the data from child to the parent, right? So for that, we will create a reusable button component. So now, yes, so button can be reusable also. Let's see. ng generate component my button. Let's name it as my button. Let me close everything. So in most of the companies, as ideally speaking, button doesn't have so much code. So why to create, right? But most of the companies use some particular theme or a design that all in all the pages that same theme and design should be followed. So they create a reusable component for the button also. So button. Now in button, let's try to see like what are the basic things. This is the basic thing. If we are talking about Bootstrap button, btn class will be there only. Now text. So this is the text. So we need two inputs. First is the class, like what kind of a color button should be there, and the text, right? So let's create two input. Round bracket, button type. So let's say it will be color like alert, success, danger. String is equal to empty. Then at the rate input round bracket, then text, that is button text. Okay, so for text will be again data type will be string only. Let's initialize to empty. Now this will go over here with an ng class, or let's name it as a button class only. That will be more beneficial. Okay, so now this button class will go over here in ng class, and instead of that text, it will be this text. That will be variable value, whatever the value we get. Okay, so let's save and let's try to use my reusable button component. Let's go to server side page. Now here, if you see, this is the normal button. Now instead of this, I will try to use the button I have created. Right now for this component, we have two inputs. First is text. So that will be search. Now I'm passing it here. Then second input is like class name, btn class name, btn class, and class name will be this. Let's send the two classes. Somewhere if I need the small button or the large button, so that's it. Now let me comment out this and let's save and check if we get the same button or not in the server side page. Yeah, so see, search button is there. Let's try to inspect and see if our component is there or not. So you can see app my button. So we have loaded our component there now instead of the normal button. Now the thing is, when I click here, I should be able to make my API call, right? But currently I'm not able to do, because this button, this is a reusable component, and inside that reusable component we have a button. So when we write the click event on this button, so this is a button, so we have to write a click event over here. on click round bracket. Now we have to write the event over here. So what happens, like, button is in the reusable component. So when we click, this function is going to trigger, but we have to make the API call on that search button. But that API call is in the parent component. So we have to inform our parent component from the child component that button is got clicked. Then only it will make the API call. So for that, we have to use output. Output and event emitter. So now let's create an output. At the rate output round bracket on btn click. This is my output name is equal to new event emitter any and round bracket. So this is the way how we create an output. At the red output, then my output name is equal to it. So here we are assigning event emitter. Okay. Now from this event, let's add a debugger first. This dot on button click dot emit. So now what we are doing, we are emitting the event from child component. Then this, for this component, these are the two input and this is an event. Output is nothing but event. So wherever we are using this component, so here we have to use the output as an event. So in round bracket, we normally go for the events, click and everything. But now if you see, it is suggesting on button click, because for this reusable component, we have one input that is on button click. Now we have to pass our local function. Means whenever this function got triggered, we have to call this function. So it will go over here. Let's save and check. This is little bit difficult to hard, but we have added the debugger, so then you will understand. Let's add over here also. Let's see. Okay, so now if I click on the search button, the first event which will get triggered is from my button component. So you can see click event got triggered. But from here we are emitting on button click. So we are sending the event to the parent component from child component. That is from my button component to the server side filter component. So if I continue, you can see we have got the debugger in filter candidate. Because in HTML, to that event, we have passed this function. Then we will make our API call, right? So let's see again. If I click on the search button, first my local event from the child component, this is got triggered. But once I click on emit, it will goes to the parent component. See, so this is how the output work. Now I inform like using output, you can send the data from child to parent. We have sent the input. Now we can send the data also along with the input. Let's see if we have to send some data from child component. So in input, you can send the data while emitting. So here, I'm trying hi over here. So while emitting the event, I have sent some data. That is simple string message I have sent. You can send date, object, array, anything you can send. Now to cache this data in the parent component. So this is the event, right? And to whenever this event trigger, we are calling this function. So we need to cache the data from the child component, whatever the data we are passing along with the event in here with $event. So this should be fixed. We have to write like this only $event. This is just a general practice we have in JavaScript whenever we are getting the event callback. So it is always a $event. So now to this function, we have to add the parameter. Let's say param colon string. So let's save now and check. Then you will see like how we can send the data from the child to the parent component. Something is wrong. Param colon string. Okay, wherever we are calling this function, now we have to pass something. Because that function has a parameter, so it is asking to send the parameter. So let's check now. Okay, in front end also it needs on line number 27. So let's see line number 27. Control G, line number 27. Yeah, here also it need. So let's send. So see, if we click on the search, first our function from the reusable component got triggered. But while emitting the event, we are sending a string which is hi. Now, if I continue, see in the param also we have got hi. So this is how we send the data from child to the parent component. Hope you have got this. So this is how we create a reusable component. When you work on the actual industrial project, there will be n number of reusable component. I mean, simple text box, button, everything will be reusable. Okay, because they just have to follow the themes and the color combination. So they will create reusable component. And so you don't have to write the extra logic in everywhere. So you can create a reusable component out of that. So hope this video finds you helpful. Please do subscribe and like my videos.